Good morning, traders. Welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we're going to be going through live analysis as we do every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. Just a quick description here. Tuesday and Friday, 10. What we do is this is our Bookmap education. This is a continuation of that education in the live market with live forward-looking analysis. So we have an educational course. It's free. It's online. I'll point to it on YouTube if you guys like. You'll see it, though. There are 4 parts to it. And then we're going to go through that same course content here in the live market to show you how to use this information to educate you on the markets in general. We'll cover many different ways to trade and manage your trades. There's not one way. What we're covering in general is order flow and how to read it, how to integrate it within many different ways of trading. Then we have live trading webinars with Jay Trader, a stocks trader, on Wednesday at 10 a.m. East Coast time, and then Scott Pulsini on Thursday at 10 a.m. We also have Tom B that will be doing this live S&P analysis, again, forward-looking, and it is all afternoon. So tune in right after this webinar into his and transfer right over. He's a volume profile trader. So it's very specific to the way that he trades, and get more insight. All right, so this is a pretty robust education that you're getting here, and this is all it's free to everybody. I really challenge you to find something else like this out there. Anyway, let's go through the disclosures. I need to go through that. This is important. Understand what you're getting involved with here. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so all for educational purposes. This is not a trade following room whatsoever. Is about education. Okay, well, interesting things going on out there. I actually want to take a big step back here. We're going to jump in here. I do want to cover this here. This was the new launch of our liquidation indicator here. This is amazing. It's only for crypto. It's only for specific crypto exchanges, but you're able to see where people are getting margin calls here. They're being liquidated. Their positions are actually being liquidated. So on the way up here, you can see in Bitcoin, this is Binance futures, which makes sense. You'll see more liquidations in this exchange here. Why? Because it's more leveraged. This is a leveraged futures product here for crypto. So on the way up, these people are getting liquidated out. There's 2.7 coins here as a cluster of 16 events, and then there's 3.1 coins here, a cluster of 45 events. 45 events of people getting margin calls here. This is amazing information to me. I just can't believe it. I want to cover this here. We just launched it yesterday, so it's free with your Global and Global Plus subscription. So let me show you, since I'm covering it, we're going to dive into the S&P and whatever else you want to look at. But since we're kind of on this, let me continue on it with it here. Where to find it? Well, you can go to our YouTube page, and there is a video, but the quickest way here is to go to the More button here and go to our knowledge base. Okay, from our knowledge base in here, this puts you in the user guide section. We want to be in the add-ons section here. Click on that. And then in the add-on section here, these are all the Bookmap add-ons. It's the last one, the latest one here, so it's at the bottom. Click on that, and then here's a video for it. We have a nice graphic on the cover here, how it works, how to install it, how to get it. You will need the Bookmap 7.3 build 26 or higher. You can download it here. You can download the indicator here and add it. If you don't have global or global plus, you can upgrade your account here if you have like digital, or you can register and get global or global plus and subscribe here. Okay, so all the links are here, all the information is here. Okay, and the video to boot, it goes through the same information that's in here. All right, so you've got that, and then play around with this. It's amazing. Okay, this is very similar to where we see a lot of stop orders. We also see sweeps. These are book sweeps, in fact, and within these book sweeps, there's all sorts of traders, but there are a lot of liquidations as well. That's amazing to understand this. This is how the market works, right? There's no denying that. This is fact. Okay, so at extremes, people are getting stopped out. They're getting margin calls. You're seeing book sweeps at these areas as well. Okay, so we'll cover that maybe more in a different webinar, but wanted to cover that. And let's dive into this S&P here. Let me know if you have any questions on that. We'll go over it. You know, we're here to cover crypto. We're here to cover yeah, David, Tom B rules. Yeah, he'll be following right after this this webinar. JJ, you're new to crypto. Okay, yeah. Yeah, go through that information there. And there's ways to also set up your account with some of those links in that page. Here, let me put the page link into to the chat for you. Okay. There you go. It's in YouTube. Put it in Discord as well for you guys. You guys are already, most of you guys already have Global and Global Plus, though. Yeah, it's an amazing tool, MC Loco. I agree. I mean, just play around with it. And yeah, you got the weekend to play around. That market never closes. Yeah, take a look. These are amazing tools. This is a new age of tools, basically, to be able to understand these markets in a very, very different way, right? And we're going to cover that right now in the S&P. Guys, what do you see on this chart here that really, really stands out? Waiting for your answer. How the ES is acting. Let's see in Discord here. Liquidity got filled. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, guys, this is big. These are big areas of liquidity. Okay, so now keep this in mind, and we want to see if more is getting filled here as well. Right? You know, maybe we're going to come up to 41.50 up here. Okay, but we're looking to see like how much is getting filled in these areas here on the way up. Really important here. Okay, this is going to be the reciprocal of, I mean, we're bullish here until we see something different. Okay, but we want to note this here because I want to cover this on the higher time frame. And I want to point you to a previous video. We also saw the same kind of activity on the way down. I believe it was this video here. Hold on. You'll see it in here, I believe. I believe it's this one here. Larger icebergs. Trading volatility higher. Could be this one here. I think it's this one. If this was 3 days ago. Boy, I can't recall. We do these every day. Anyway, I believe it. I know we covered it in here as well on this video. So this was the 23rd. It might be this one. No, I don't think it is. It's not. So anyway, that's okay. You guys can look for it and look for the day. But is this that we want insight to? It's this. For higher time frame, shorter time frame, we're bullish here. Okay, we're looking for this 41.20 here. It looks great for trading here. You know, we're kind of leveled out here, as you can see, so maybe some back and forth here, but this is the target. Okay, and then 41.25 above, etc. Now, what I want to cover here is starting to understand how much liquidity is getting filled in here on the way up, and then let's look at our bigger picture here. Now, this is the daily chart over here, and this was this down day here where everything was going to hell in a handbasket. or was it, yeah, it was this one here. So what day was that? That was on the 20th. So look for that video on the 20th. That's where we saw mass in here. Well, it looked like this in here as well. God, I can't recall. It might have been this one as well. This day here, May 15th. Does that make sense? No. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna stop trying to figure out what day. Let's just look at this action in here and let's cover it here. This is where we were looking for the continuation in this move to the downside on this day. You know, huge direction here, pull back, and then, you know, looking for the direction here. On the way down, we were seeing at every single point lots of liquidity getting filled. It was odd, and we noted it, and we saw huge iceberg orders as well. So we were still, you know, looking for the move to continue until it doesn't, but we were noting that, and we're looking for the play and the reversal back once the order flow starts to change and shift at certain areas. Okay, and it was later in the day, the webinar had ended, that shift started to happen, and then we're looking for the move back up. Okay, and just, you know, back up into some of these areas where these guys that were absorbing or getting filled here on the bid on the way down, in this big tail here, this really big tail here, we were looking for them to be in profit, and they would be back up in this area. Well, look what this led to. It led to all of these days here. Okay, or it was a big helper, put it that way, a really big helper for this move to the upside here. So what do you think? Do you think these guys down in here are taking profits up in here? That's what I think. And let's try to, you know, look and start to understand this liquidity up here in a bigger time frame context. Okay, because, you know, above the swing here, lots of stops will be up here. A lot of people knocked out thinking like, oh, this is it, I got it. Interest rates are, you know, going to be 10% or, you know, whatever. And then look what happens. Okay, and then now the news goes and matches and tries to find out, in my opinion, the news goes and tries to figure out, oh, well, there was good earnings. Oh, well, consumer sentiment is not as bad. You know, the meeting minutes weren't so bad. And then this happens. Okay, but they're already positioned down here. And now we're looking for the opposite. Okay, we're looking for some nice profit taking up in here. You know, maybe this move, I mean, these are some pretty strong up days here. Look at the candles, look at the momentum in the candles, okay, on this daily chart. So we are looking for it to come up higher. Okay, we already had a line in here that we drew months ago at what, 41.31, and the next one up here at and I forget why we had it up here at 41.80. But we know that 41.50 is up here as well, and that's also a swing up here for a day. Okay, so that's a nice area to go to as well. All right, these are strong moves, so looking for continuation here. But we want to note the other side of the trade here. So this is just now this here on the daily chart, and this activity in here, I really don't see that any differently than this with the liquidations indicator here in this crypto market on a much smaller time frame. Okay, it's just, you know, as this is moving up, you know, we're seeing the condition of what's happening in here above this range. People getting liquidated, stops being hit, etc. This is, you know, the same idea here on the strong move to the upside here. The market explores these areas and finds liquidity, or it finds traders. Okay, it finds people transacting. Okay, if they don't want to, or if they do want to. In this case, these traders certainly don't want to transact, but they're forced to. Okay, and they didn't even make the transaction. It was the exchange that made the transaction. Right, so starting to understand at a deeper level on higher time frames what's going on within these markets, and it's here in front of us. Okay, and it's visualized. All right, so point made. Let's keep that in mind as we're looking at the S&P here, and starting to understand. And what we're talking about here is market structure. And we're talking about order flow within that market structure on much, much higher time frames here. And this is one way to use this product. Okay, you can use it for swing trading. Look at just start to follow the liquidity. What's happening with the high liquidity in here? Go back to that webinar, I think on the 20th, and watch it in there. It goes through this in real time. So this is something worthy to I think review. All right, so let me go to some of these questions in here. That indicator is available on Global and Global Plus products. Okay, so if you have the free version, or if you have any other version like Digital or Digital Plus, it won't be in there. You'll need to upgrade to Global or Global Plus, but it's free in both of those. Okay, and if you're curious about it, we'll try it for a month. I mean, it's 49 bucks for the month, and then see if you like it. All right, so yeah, raging rally supported by icebergs. I don't see too many icebergs in here. In fact, it's the opposite. My iceberg detector here is showing, guys, I mean, look at this. You just can't make this stuff up. Let's put the on chart. It is on. No, it's not. No, it's not. Hold on, let me put the icebergs on. That's sub chart. Here's on chart. Okay. The icebergs are getting filled here on the offer on the way up. Now just look at this picture in here. Again, higher time frame analysis. I mean, today we're bullish. I mean, smaller time frame, yeah, sure. We're already through 20. We're looking for 20. We're looking for above 20. It's come up to 22 and a half. Looking for 25. Now it's not going to be so easy. It's going to go back and forth and see other things, and we'll go over that minutia and smaller time frame trading here. But it's really worthy to kind of take a step back and understand the bigger picture here. Here's the dynamic, and we saw this same dynamic back on that day, and here it is again on the way up. Okay, nice strong rally here. Everything's looking bullish. We know that there's lots of liquidity getting filled on the offer. Okay, that's fact. We also look at our icebergs in here. There's a significant amount being filled here. So up here at 1,000 on down to negative 6,000. So between here and here on this chart, there are 6,000 icebergs that got filled on the offer, and it's still going against them. Okay, now are they taking profit, or are they taking profit and reloading and in a new position short? Maybe, doesn't matter. We just know the condition here. Here's 1,500 right here, 3 different events, 1,500 icebergs, and I've got it filtered in here, and the filter is quite high. I can see another, I don't know, is it 1,200 or 128 up here, etc. So lots of icebergs here, and look at the stops. Okay, now don't read this as a crossover here, but I mean, just understand that this is going down and this is going up. So people are getting stopped out, and we talked about that, looking at the stops above here, above 40.95, and we're already way up here. So God, I mean, like, stops up in this area is what we're talking about. Anyway, the here's that relationship. What traders are using are using iceberg orders, native CME icebergs. Pyrognosis. What do you think? So who uses a iceberg order? Are you using an iceberg order? And if so, why? Yep, larger players, institutions, hedge funds, all sorts of players like this, and they're using it. What's the main reason? It's in the actual name of the of the order, not iceberg, but the other name for it, the hidden order. Not to show their intent. Exactly. MC Loco, you're all over this stuff. I know you've been in here for a while, but it's great. I mean, like, love your enthusiasm, and look how much you're learning in here and taking advantage of it. I don't know. I mean, dealer hedging. I mean, I think that's a different animal. And delta neutral. You might want to look into pyrognosis. You might want to look into the hero indicator on that. I do have it here. Now this is with spot gamma and Brent, and then he covers this very specifically here using the dealers having to hedge using the futures markets. It's a very different player in here. Okay, but you can also put that together. And yeah, well, you know, here's their hedges. So you know, they're short in these areas here. So that's going down. Okay, you can put that into your higher time frame analysis here as well. And the market continues to rally, right? Well, this makes sense though. Okay, to me this makes sense. Like, and I'd be looking to, you know, I mean, there's no question in here now. I haven't gone through any analysis yet on these lower time frames. Taking a step back today, at least for the moment, and covering this higher time frame analysis. As you guys know, we've been doing this for years. We get in here and look at everything, all the details, looking for it to trade up into here, looking for pullbacks, looking for moves back up based on market structure, volume, and the order book, okay, the auction. And we're looking for those moves to unfold. Okay, and we're just saying right now, like, well, it's still going higher, and we're looking for it to go higher until we see something else. Okay, so it's already gone up into our 41.25 area, and we can do a quick read right now. There's not a whole lot of buying up here. Okay, so I'm looking for a pullback actually right now, and I don't know how big. I mean, my God, here's another massive iceberg. Oh no, I'm sorry, 250 or so. It's not that big. Anyway, yeah, looking for a pullback, likely back down to about 41.25 or so. I'm just not seeing the buying interest right now, so maybe we have to kind of go lower for the moment here. Okay, so that's the current read here, and the sellers are coming in, starting to come in. Anyway, the bigger picture point here is we have identified larger players, and thanks for bringing that up with the hedging. So we got our hero indicator in here as well. That adds another dimension, okay, for understanding what's going on within this bullish move to the upside. We see massive orders here filled on the offer on the way up here as well at 41.20, and then 25, not so much. Okay, 41.50 up here, could still get up here. And seeing our sellers come in, we were just looking for that pullback to 41.20, and that has almost unfolded, a little shy of it. Still looking for it though. I'd like to see it come back down to the bottom of the range here, maybe back to even point of control, which is nicely aligned with this kind of range down here as well. hit some stops, maybe go back and forth here, and then maybe come back up. All right, so but we'll be reading the order flow along the way. So there's our current market read. I'm glad I got that in. I just want to mention again, like, this higher time frame, understanding what's going on here, and starting to understand these levels here on these higher time frame swings here, right above it here, back up into this area here, and our line that we had drawn quite a while ago due to these swings over here, and also some of these swings here. That's why we drew it, I believe. That was months ago, April 22nd, and then this was March 15th, March 9th or 8th, or somewhere around there. Right, and here's our retest. Okay, and here is the swing here, which is a nice one. Okay, back and forth in here, and the move down, and here's the squeeze to the upside. Okay, and we already know from our previous webinar on the higher time frame, which we noted here, but I'm always amazed to see the strength of these moves after that. It's just it's incredible. Wasn't so easy either. Let's just kind of drill down into a month here. So it's not so easy either, because I think this was a very easy read down below here. Okay, and then looking for the move back up just on that day alone. Now sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does this a couple days, and you'll just see it. It's like, wow, these are huge moves, and I see huge amounts of liquidity getting filled on the way down. Maybe after a couple of days, but it's almost always followed by this kind of move. If you notice that they're getting filled and staying in the order book, and you notice the icebergs getting filled on the way down here. Okay, what was amazing to me was the next day. Okay, this was last Friday. That's right. So this was the 20th. The next day, though, and it was over the weekend, we're still looking for this to be bullish. And Monday was an easy read again. We're still looking for it to come up higher. And then Tuesday, retesting some of these areas down here. I thought we'd retest even back down here due to these wicks down in here. Didn't quite get there. And then I saw the bulls come in again, and then back up above it here, back up above it here, and then the last 2 days, nice moves to the upside. Okay, so now there's a lot of order flow in here as well. Okay, so it makes sense that we didn't get this one big move, and even though we saw all of this liquidity getting filled, icebergs getting filled down here in Bookmap, it makes sense that we took a little bit of a break. We're looking for the follow through. We got it. Took a little bit of a break, a pullback, and then follow through again. So let's see, this was on Tuesday, and this is also this webinar. We should go back and take a look and see on this tail in here if we saw just massive amounts of liquidity getting filled. I can't remember. Okay, but the order flow on Tuesday is going to be pretty important too. And then also Wednesday, which was JTrader, and then yesterday was Scott Pulsini. So I don't have webinars on that day from our kind of analysis. Right, that was live. These are 2 live trading days here. Right, so anyway, it makes sense though, and now these larger players can start to kind of ease out maybe of some of their positions. We'll see. I mean, maybe this will continue. Maybe it's going to come up into these areas up here. These swings up here on the hourly chart, that would be way up here at 4,300 basically, something like that. So that's 180 points away. Points, not ticks. Anyway, something to consider. Something to consider. Now we already noted though lots of liquidity getting filled on the way up here for today. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just fascinated by order flow on the higher time frames, and putting that together in the bigger picture here. Okay, and some of these tools like stops and icebergs can assist in here quite a bit. And then also now this new tool with the liquidations here, it's also assisting. I mean, guys, you've heard of that random walk in the market. I don't know how else to describe it better than this with this indicator. It just amazes me that this is really what's making the market move. Just randomly back and forth. It's like almost like a pain meter that it finds people compelled to trade, or the exchange trades for them. It it kind of searches for pain in here, hits it, and then reverses to the other side. You can look at some of these things in here and start to develop some strategies. This is a new tool, so have at it. You have an edge, most likely you have your edge now with these new tools to develop your strategies. So for example, and it's a little different day today. We're not diving, I haven't dove deeply into the order flow yet, but we will likely do that here pretty soon. Just kind of thinking out loud here on bigger picture stuff in here with the understanding of market structure on the higher time frame, and really what's going on when the order flow on the higher time frame structure. And this is it here. Now this is lower time frame, but the same concepts here. Yeah, starting to understand like how to use this here. For example, when stops and icebergs came out, and I showed that to Scott Pulcini, then he just disappeared for a couple of months, and he just came back with questions and requests for more data feeds or other things, because he was studying. He was putting his course together. He was putting his whole strategy together. And then came back with a strategy revolving around stops and icebergs. Okay, so here's a new tool with liquidations, and you could do the same. And you can do it over the weekend too with this market. This market's open 24/7. All right, so yeah, next thing we're going to do here is we're going to do a crypto webinar series event. After introducing this new tool here to some of the crypto traders out there, and they're going to host the webinars, so you can also learn from them. Yeah, I would encourage you, when there's a new technology that shows something objective, you might want to, it's something to consider. Go and study it and see if it offers you an edge. And integrate that into your trading plan, because you're going to be trading differently than others. They're not trading the way that you are. This is something new. All right. Now, of course, it's going to lose its edge over time, but it's going to take a while. Okay. Stops and icebergs. We've had it for years. Still offers, I think, tremendous insight. All right. So. What are the odds for strong price check lower? Yeah, I don't know the odds. That's when you come to the odds and get very specific, that means you've studied the data, and you need to know your numbers. And I don't have anything like that in front of me here for knowing that. That's something that builds out a trading plan for yourself, though. You might want to look into, like I said, reach out to Spot Gamma on that. He's heavily data driven, just heavily. So that should answer a lot of questions there when we start to talk about also Doug Pless. I think Doug Pless is in these webinars here. You can reach out to him on our Discord channel. JJ, if you're talking about crypto, then just subscribe to Bookmap. If you want this new indicator, you'll need to subscribe to Global or Global Plus. And then the crypto data is free. The way you connect here is through settings, manage your connections, or I think you can even do it through here and configure and then add and remove your connections in here. We connect to so many different crypto exchanges. They're all listed in here. They're on the website. Whoops. Okay, yeah, I updated one, so I don't have access to that right now. But they're on the website here. I can show you quickly. 21 different exchanges, or maybe even 22, because we're actually a data provider now too for crypto due to our multi-book product. Connectivity here, crypto here they all are. These are all free. We have the adapters for them, so get your Global or Global Plus, and then here manage your connections, add all of the ones that you want to look at, all the exchanges, and then connect to them in here with configure your connections, and you're up and running. Okay, and this indicator though that I just have been mentioning, it only works for Binance Futures, FTX, Bitfinex, and Bybit. Okay, and each of them are going to show different, it says exchange. So here, this one doesn't even offer full depth. Okay, Bybit doesn't offer full depth, but here's your liquidations in here. Okay, these are sell transactions, but their position was long when they got liquidated here. Now look at this here. Look at the buyers starting to come in here, right? Pretty big liquidation event here. 2.1 coins, 17 events. Great. Now the market found all sorts of traders. Will it find more? Well, I don't know. It seems some buyers are coming in, and maybe they need to find like some buy transactions or liquidations on the other side here. Okay, and that would be above this swing here, 26,160 on up to 29,240 or so. Something like that. Okay, or maybe it'll try up in here. We'll see. I mean, and to find very few liquidations, and it starts to rotate lower down to here and finds more. If it does, it's going to explore these areas down here, and that's how you get this trending environment. Okay, let's see, how many events do we have here in FTX? Not many. I've got it filtered on here with FTX. Yeah, no, it's fine. Okay, I don't see, I mean, there are events in here with FTX. I just don't see any today. Oh, I'm sorry, this was Bitfinex. Here's FTX. Yeah, FTX, there's one here. I might have this filtered. No, it's fine. Yeah, well, you can see there's not as many in here. Okay, but there's tons in here. And like I said, there's tons in here because this is most likely, or I assume, because this is a leveraged product here or exchange. It's futures, right? And you can see that a lot of players don't know how to manage their leverage at all. They have no clue, and they're just getting annihilated and margin called here. So yeah, you want to take the other side of a trade with a patsy. Well, this might be the exchange here for crypto then. Okay, just some ideas. All right, guys, we were looking for the pullback in here after this 25. We've gotten it. It's come back down even below our 41.20. We were just looking for that, and then lower levels as well. We talked about it here. We talked about point of control as well. And that looks like it's going down here. That's where I'm looking for it to go, and maybe this liquidity down just below it here at 41.15 here, and looking for the continuation here. Okay, let's see it. So any questions on this kind of higher time frame stuff? I spent a lot of time on it here. It's really important to understand your higher time frame market structure. And then we just had lots of insight on higher time frame structure and order flow within that structure. Okay, let's see if we get one more move here, one more push by these sellers into 15. Looking for it. No, not yet. So a little bit of chop here at the moment. A few rotations back and forth. This market is just notorious for this rotations. Okay, it might come back up and test 19 and or 20 here again. Yeah, it looks like it. Reaction to this liquidity here at 17.5. Found a few buyers. Okay, they don't, as you can see, they don't mean business. They're pulling that liquidity. Okay, so sellers are probing them. They don't want to trade here. So looking for these sellers now to hit into 15 at this point, due to this reaction to that selling in here. Or due to that buying liquidity in here. Due to that buying liquidity in here after rotating a couple times, now we're looking for the follow through. Okay, so let's see it. So we've already broken new lows here. Still looking for sellers to explore lower into 15. Okay, high liquidity here on the offer, pushing, and there's our move, guys. Okay, just shy of 15. One tick. Still looking for it though. There it is. Beautiful. Okay, any questions on that? That was very, very okay. So I mean, you can see the dynamic here. We're talking like several days understanding of liquidity and order flow, and then here's a very small time event in here in a scalp, basically, in the move lower. I'll go through it again. And this is the same type of stuff that we use on our higher time frame analysis in here. Okay, nice move out of there. Looking for them to trade, try to trade back to 20 here. Okay, back to the top of the range here. Point of control now has moved down, guys. This is the most traded level here as well. It was there before. It is there again now after these transactions in here. Always kind of fascinated by point of control as well. I love these really big dynamic swings it does. Point of control is here, trades up here, boom, becomes point of control. It develops up here. Developing point of control is important to understand as well for your volume profile, guys. See the big cluster up here? But it's this one here is the point of control. It's the biggest. But as we trade back and forth and this starts to grow, and then at a certain point, boom, this is now the point of control. It moves very quickly from here on up to here at 41.22. Right now the market kind of remembers, though, this is an area here where a lot of transactions can take place, so it can trade back down there again and explore, and it already happened here. So that is kind of a mute point. All right, yeah, all right, Doug, you're there. I know you're in here. Guys, if you have questions for Doug on the options, he's the man. Doug is we were just talking about this. We were just talking about understanding and studying some of these new tools in here, and then finding an edge using these new tools, and maybe completely changing your trading plan. But finding a new edge. Traders, it doesn't matter. I mean, I know hedge fund traders that have, hundreds of millions of dollars under their control, and hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank accounts, and they're always looking for edge, always. So these new tools, and they're always looking at new ways of understanding the market and data. Okay, and building out a new trading plan and developing a new edge. Okay, so we just talked about Scott Pulcini. We also just talked about this new tool here, and then we can talk about Doug and looking at Hero. When the Hero indicator came out, Doug dove in deeply. Wanted to understand what this new tool was showing. He liked options. I think Doug, tell me if I'm wrong. Guys, there's videos of Doug already. Like we've done Pro Trader webinar and other webinars with Doug on our YouTube channel, and you can reach out on our Discord channel and find Doug P as well in there. So my point is, he dove in deeply. It was a new tool. God, it was a new tool. Even Brent Kachuba, who developed the tool, had never seen it before. He had never seen real-time options hedging on the chart. And, you know, that was new for him to study as well. So Doug took the opportunity. He dove in. He studied it, and he developed a whole new trading plan, and he shared it with you. Okay, so look it up. It's in there on our YouTube channel under the Pro Trader webinar series playlist there. Okay, so Doug has been very generous with it, and start to understand there's an on-chart component to this indicator as well. This is the cumulative volume delta component in the subchart here, this green line. Okay, so Bert, you've been looking at CVD. It's been going down for the last 25-30 minutes, and that was just recently. You just said that. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing to take a look at, you know, for turning events, like strong, you know, moves to the upside. And guys, we saw this here. What is? Let me pose a question. God, today's such a weird webinar. Typically, guys, we were glued to the order flow and looking for reading it in real time and looking for where it might go next. Okay, we just did that very quickly in here on this move down to this 15 area in here, and was looking for that. But we're looking for something up here at 25 as well. What was it, if you guys remember? What was it we noticed up in here? That gave us some insight for the pullback back down, and we were just talking for 20 at that point, just to pull back to 20. And then the next one we said, well, maybe they'll even pull back to like this point of control area here, and then the liquidity here at 15. Okay, so what was it that it's all getting into the trivia mode here? No, high liquidity and exhaustion. Well, yeah, that's pretty good. I got to give YouTubers just a couple more seconds in here. They're just a little bit of a lag. Bitcoin could run out of customers. Wow, that's pretty interesting. You know, I'll show you something here. Pyrognosis on Bitcoin. This is just kind of fascinating. Down at $550. There's like, I don't know, like 450 coins or something. David in YouTube there. Reach out to Doug on our Discord channel. Sign up is free for the details. But look in the Pro Trader webinar series on our YouTube page. It's in there. You'll see it. Doug Plus. Fewer buyers, Jeff. That's what at 25. Yep, that's what kind of clued us in up here. Look at it. You can see it right here visually. Okay, but MC Loco is right. Exhaustion basically is what he's saying, which is true. It's basically, you know, exhausting out. I mean, it's not technically exhaustion. It might be if we zoom in here, but there's just not a whole lot of transactions up here on the buy side. Look at this. This is a complete with volume profile. your market profile, you call this kind of a finished edge. It came up here, it did trade, but it explored it. It just didn't find too much, and then it kind of rotates back down. Okay, and that's how you get these kind of finished edges in your profile like this. So it explored it and just didn't find much of a market. So if it doesn't, what does it do? It trades back to where it can trade in the market, and it builds that area out. Okay, and that's your mean reversion type of activity. Okay, the mean is this in this case, your point of control or your volume cluster. All right, so anyway, yeah, we look on the way up here, more volume trading at these highs, and then up here, not so great. And it's 41.25. It did trade into this liquidity up here. You can see it. Okay, we didn't look into the details here, but here it is, transactions right into it. Okay, so they are getting filled. And then here's if you really want to look at the minutia in here, and now this is microstructural, and when we start to look at, boy, actually it's not. I mean, when we talk about microstructure, what it means is sub-second. Okay, this is just very small structure. We're down at second levels here. This is a couple seconds per each dotted line here, but technically, like microstructure is when we start to look at these milliseconds here. So between like this dotted line and this dotted line is a blink of a human eye, and you can see already hundreds trade within a blink of an eye here in this S&P. The S&P is pretty incredible market, anyway, here, take a look at this up here. So we already noted that it kind of was weaning on the it was thinning out on the buy side. Here's the retest up here. One measly contract, it looks like. Yeah, one. Poor guy. One contract up here. Basically, that's exhaustion. It's not technically, but one contract. And then looking for the sellers. Usually or typically, we look for some sellers already down here. The retest, we look for the exhaustion. Then we look for sellers back down here. So it would have been great to see them here. They didn't really trade here too much. They actually traded up here a little bit more. And then we're looking for the sellers to come in. And then what would you guys think here? If sellers come in on this very small time frame, where would you look for them to go? Okay, because they explored this outside edge here. And it retested here and didn't find anything. Okay, one trader. So you'd be looking for it to go 41.24. Yeah, but you would look for the swings. You'd look for high volume node as well. And let me just reiterate again about high volume node and volume profile in here. I don't really care about the profile. I care about where the market can trade in the auction. So look for clusters of volume. Look at your profile just to kind of build out this area. So all of these three levels in here are all good for a retracement back into. Okay, and if you get enough traders to blaze through these areas here, they're going to trade to the other side of the range, and that other side of the range would be down here. Okay, 41.23, and that's exactly where it went. Okay, and that's exactly where it bounced down here. So again, market structure. Now this swing here and understanding this up in here is really no different than what we were talking about earlier in some of the things in here. Okay, on these much higher time frames. Okay, so it's all fractal, meaning that it's the same kind of market activity on high time frames and low time frames. Okay, I always think of the tree. In fact, funny that Carmine brought that up. If you hadn't seen that video, we had a pro trader webinar with Carmine this week on Tuesday. It was excellent. And he brought up a tree, but and used the metaphor in a different way. But you know, the fractal is like the tree trunk to tree branches to you know, small branches and smaller branches, and you know, it's a fractal structure. Anyway, that's why we were looking for this move. We were kind of in a medium time frame. We weren't drilled in for looking for the move back down into 23. We were looking for a little bit bigger, due to, you know, this kind of, it was a higher time frame outlook here. So we're just looking for the move back to 20 because of this area in here and the transactions in there, and then potentially also down to this area here, okay, which did unfold. And it's still, they're still pulling or hitting the market lower here. Okay, so we have our VWAP down here. I like it. Now again, VWAP traders, if you're looking at your VWAP, we'll start to line it up with stuff. This is a nice alignment here. It makes sense for it to come down to 41.10 here due to the order flow. Okay, and VWAP is right there too. Well, okay, then that makes sense too. It's a confluence. And look at, they're already lined up in front of it here to be buyers. Okay, still more selling, still looking for it to go lower. Okay, 99 iceberg. Looks like five different icebergs in here around this 14 or 13 and a half level or so. They should hit into that and through it though. There they go. Okay, so looking for our 11, looking for our 10 here. They pulled over here. They're adding on the offer here. We're finding sellers. So we're still looking for this to just continue on down into some of this liquidity here. Okay, that's the primary scenario. Okay, we'll cover the other secondary scenario here. We've always got to, what if? And what does the what if look like? All right, well, it would be buyers, green dots in here first, followed probably by exhaustion here, and then some buying starting to come in, and then buyers up here around 13 and a half. And then if we do get that, then looking for them to trade it back up to maybe 15 and maybe our point of control as well. Okay, I don't see that scenario unfolding yet. We do have some exhaustion here. That's not bad. Okay, but we're looking for the green dots back up here, right? 13 and a half. That's where we're looking for them. Okay, there's an iceberg in here still putting size on. Okay, there they are. Okay, now it's not a whole lot up here, but they're above it. All right, so looking for a small squeeze here, back up to 16 or 17 here. See if they can do that. We're still in a downtrend. Okay, so it did its first move. And let's see if we can get, so looking again for exhaustion here on the sell side. Now, if we get sellers here, then this turns into the, you know, then we're still looking for the move lower, because we haven't really broken. We broke a smaller structure here, but we didn't break any higher time frame structure yet, or even kind of small time frame structure yet. Okay, I mean, we broke a little trend there, but you know, I don't know how much value that has. But this is the first one that we were looking for here, and it did that around our 1350. Okay, we didn't get follow through. In fact, we're getting our sellers down here. So yeah, I'm still looking for sellers to try to move this lower. Not enough here to squeeze back up into the high here at 7, or this kind of swing at 16.5 or 17 here. So back to that secondary scenario, which is playing out already. Okay, still looking for it. See him trade into this 10. Okay, these are really small moves, guys, but like, you know, our goal here in these webinars is to verify in real time. I mean, by using the education, the order flow education course, together with the reading of the live analysis here, to put that together so we can read this in real time and look for these moves to unfold. Okay, more likely move to unfold, and go through the different scenarios of what the order flow might look like. So we saw a little bit of a change. We saw some buyers here, and then we mentioned, like, well, you know, yeah, looking for a nice squeeze. It's on. However, they didn't follow through. We come back down here. We see some selling. Okay, one more little test here. Nope. Some selling in here. We're looking for the follow through in the continuation. Looking for sellers below here. This is the pivot point here where we need to see the sellers. So, or someone has to commit here at this level here. Okay, right in here. So about 12.5 or 13 or so, somewhere right in there. I think we called it 13 or 13.5 is what we're looking at up here. But here's where the buyers came in. Okay, so now we've traded into 10, also 9, and let's zoom out here. Let's take a look at our bigger picture. This turned into a kind of a nice move so far. Okay, into this liquidity here that's been in the book for a while. All right, so down below the swing, down below these swings here, looks good. Okay, transaction here, liquidity filled in here, still on the kind of a flip of the book. So now we can go through and look for our buyers to come back in. We're already getting it and seeing the squeeze, looking for them to squeeze pretty quickly here, actually, back up to our swing here, and also our 17 level here. So looking for just buyers to come streaming in, as they already have. I want to see them start to squeeze though. Okay, so quick move here. There we go. There's 13.5. Looking for it still. Quick pullback too. Still looking for it though. So anyway, this happened kind of quickly. I wanted to cover the potential for the buyers to come in at this level here on the higher time frame. Interesting. All right, so this is getting a little more complex now. See, this player came in here and skewed the auction here. Let's see, we're right back to them. Let's see if the buyers take them on though. Looking for it. Yeah, looks like they're going to do it. All right, so we're above that now. Let's see if we get more buyers up here. So this trader kind of bullying the book here. He transacted. So what if we get more buyers up here? That's the scenario we're looking for. We're looking for the move right back up into not only 1350, but 1450, 15, and maybe higher, maybe back up into this 17 here. Okay, this player came in again, transacted. We're finding buying pressure. Guys, use these traders here to learn from them. There's buying pressure still in here, so we're still looking for the move higher here. Okay, let them test the market. They have the size. We can read it, and then we can react to it. Okay, some more on the offer here. It's starting to come a little crowded on the bid up here. I want to see these guys pull here on the bid, and I want to see it stream right up into 15. I want to see more on the I'm sorry, more on the bid down here, pull on the offer, and this is what we're looking for. So they're starting to pull a bit. Okay, now I want to see a stop run above that as well, a good one. Here's 19. It's not bad, but looking for more. So we're at our 15 level, still looking for the squeeze back up here. 17. I hope that resonates with somebody, like with you guys. But just to understand that concept in here, let them test the market. We actually had a blog article years ago that covered exactly this in here. I think it was called Spoof and Test. You can search on Google for it. Something like that. Let them test it. What was the reaction? Wow, buyers. Okay, and we got a little bit above it, but that was it though, right? Now we saw buyers back up here again. Great. Okay, now we have some ideas what's going on. There's still buying pressure in here due to this liquidity in here that got filled. There's still more buying pressure above it. So we trade back up into here, and the guy comes in again, or another trader comes in, and they're still testing it. And we still found buyers. They transacted with them. Now the follow through after this event is what's key. Do we find buyers above it? We do. This is why we're looking for the move higher. Okay, there's still they just tested it. We know that there's buying pressure in here, so we're looking for the move higher. Okay, and it just came up into point of control, just moved from 17 down to 15. Okay, so we got up to about 16, which isn't bad. It's the swings up here at 16 actually. Marcel, no, I don't look at the ADD. I don't look at market internals. I used to. I like them. I just kind of lost access to them, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know. To me, like just being able to read the auction and the order flow gives, I think, so much richness that I don't really need to look at those market internals. It just becomes another thing to look at and more complex. It's not that, like I said, I find them useful. It's not that. But it's just all these things to look at. Whereas like for me, as my kind of evolution as a trader, it went from looking at everything and then starting to kind of look more at volume studies and structure. And then once Bookmap came out, it was like, wow, now I can understand the opposite side of the trade. Okay, guys, so we're still finding buying pressure. We did make it up to that 17. It just transacted. Okay, and look how it transacted up here. And there's some buying. It's not bad, but it's not that strong move that we're looking for. It's not bad, but see how it kind of waned up here as well. So it kind of, again, finished edge. All right, explore the other side, explore down here. It's trading at point of control here. It's bouncing off of point of control and still finding buying pressure up here. All right, let's see, can they continue at 16 and a half? Then looking for 18, looking for 20 or 19 or back to 20 here. Let's see if they can do it. See it building in here. Okay, and they're exploring and they're still finding buyers here. So we're still looking for this to continue until something else happens. Same process for you. Yeah. McLoco. Yeah. I think we've all looked at everything. We've all read the same books. It's funny with the trivia. It kind of blew me away, actually. We looked at the trivia event, or some of the results from the trivia events, the answers to the questions. Yeah, it looks like everyone's kind of gone through the same processes. Or many of us have read the same books. But what killed me, though, is like trying to find, like, we always do the cultural question as last. It's been movie related so far. Maybe we'll do it on something else. But I thought for sure, like, I had it. Like, the movie was Trader, with Paul Tudor Jones when he was, almost a kid, and back in 1987. I thought for sure that would throw people for a loop, and almost everyone got it. So I was shocked. So yeah, we're all looking at the same stuff and reading the same books, looking at the same movies. Okay, guys. I mean, see how we're reading that order flow here. We traded to 19. Now we need to see the buyers push through 19 here, and they're doing it. Now we're at 20, or I'm sorry, 20. Actually, 20 was our target, right? So we're just looking for that move up into 20, basically. So I would take some off there. I'm still seeing buying pressure here. So I'd still hold on to some, if I were in a position here. But if I start to see a lot of selling on the other side in here, I might just close the position. Okay, so far so good, though. There's no reason to get out yet. Still in an uptrend. Structure still good on the smaller time frame. Buying still at higher highs, so looking for 22. Okay, see how we're getting some exhaustion up here, though? We're seeing some sellers, right? So we're not seeing what we want up here. But they can be upended if we get our buyers here. Now, if we don't get our buyers here on one of these rotations and we see more selling down here, yep, then like here, like, yeah, I'd hit the I'm out button, right? Now I've done this many times, and then they do rotate back in, and then it makes the move. But here it tried many times. I see sellers down here, so I'm actually looking for sellers to trade to the other side of the range now, back down here. So I'll take my profit here. Okay, and then I don't have to mess with this. In fact, maybe even look for a short scalp just down to the bottom of the range here at 18 or 18 and a quarter. Okay, so guys, we've seen some nice little moves here in some of these small scalps, or even middle kind of mid-range. Actually, this is a nice time frame here. Okay, and we were looking for this here. Well, we zoomed out, we looked for it. We talked about it here, that this is below some of these swings here. Great. Is VWAP. Great. We have high liquidity down here, and it transacted. These are all good things to look for. We're looking at our structure to break. We're looking for those buyers to come in, and we first look for small moves. Okay, in fact, we looked for it in here, and it didn't, I think, and it didn't pan out. Here it panned out, and then here it continued, and we're looking for that. Right, and then we're looking for up into 17, a point of control here in the swing here, and then 20, and then continuation, maybe to 22, and then holding for 22, and then getting out. Okay, due to this lack of activity on the buy side here, and seeing sellers. Okay, now it looks like there's still buying pressure here, and it looks like it's finally going to go. But you could have gotten out, and you can get back in, and then look for the move back to 22 and maybe higher here. Okay, now it's up to you. Like, this trade is working out due to the order flow, and these sellers are going to get upended here. So I'd be looking for the stop run to the upside here. I see 67 already. Okay, so there you go. So there's another scalp. In fact, it was a scalp down to 18 or so, and it could have been, and then a move back, jumping back in, and then looking for the follow through here due to the order flow. So order flow told us here. It told us to get out, maybe even a small reversal. Told us to get back in and hold. Continuation and hold. Stop at break even already, maybe partial already out. I don't know about that, but yeah, I probably would. Getting kind of lofty here, but there's no reason to actually. That's more of just kind of want to be a risk-free trade here, and put my stop at break even, and then I just don't worry, right? I just let this run until I see something else that tells me something else in the order flow. Okay, so guys, we went through enough, I think, in here on the small time frame, but we spent a lot of time here on the higher time frame analysis. And let's just zoom out and we'll cover it again here a bit. Okay, we were looking for the move higher. We're bullish, but on the higher time frame, we're noticing what's happening here, and then matching this dynamic here with previous webinars down in these areas here that we saw. And this was amazing to see. Okay, we mentioned it. Like, I was just like, my God, look at this. Every point there was lots of liquidity and tons of icebergs getting filled on the bid. It was odd. It was noted. It was noteworthy. And it's led to multi-day highs here. Okay, back to the top of the range and still continuing here. All right, so there's lots of order flow on higher time frame. Then we saw kind of a mid time frame here, or kind of a longer term for the day at least, looking for several points out of it here, and then some smaller kind of scalps in here. Okay, and we talked a little bit about trade management as well. Okay, again, this is not a trading room. This is all for applying these order flow reads to your trading methods and your trading management methods. All right, let me get to some of these questions in here. No, okay, Marcellulose, I like that. Does rhythmic data being more full fill in volume profile differently than it would for DX feed or TOS? No, not at all. Unless, I mean, the transactions, the other data feeds are pretty good with their transactions. Okay, their traded volume, their time in sales, a lot of them are quite accurate there. Where rhythmic is very different is the order book and the limit buy and sell orders, and they are extremely accurate with that. And we find for years now we found that they seem to be more accurate than other data providers. Okay, yeah, that's very typical. So you shouldn't see discretions between the transactions. Oh, hey, David. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, hope you're well. Excellent. Nice to see you in here. It is different. Okay. I don't know what to tell you on that, Alec. You've been doing options for a while. Have you reached out to Doug? Maybe you guys can get some synergy or some things going. Also, guys over there at you haven't. Okay, you guys might want to connect. Just a note. I reached out to a lot of guys and had mentioned a lot of options traders and said that we were going to do an options webinar series this quarter, so in June. However, we developed this new indicator here, the liquidation indicator here, And I was just so amazed and so blown away by it that instead we're going to do, and since this is out, we're going to do a crypto webinar series. So it's still kind of in the works here for the options, and Doug will definitely be a part of that. Is there a way to change the color of CVD? Yeah, sure. I mean, just go into the settings for CVD. Okay, so click on cumulative volume delta. You can put in whatever setting. You can split them out. You know, you can go back to default here and use whatever color you want. Yeah, I don't like splitting out the CVD, but that's just me, right? You guys will have to come up with what, you know, whatever you like best. I just was used to it earlier with one line, I think. Probably it. You might want to play around with some of the CVD settings in here, though, David. We've had them from day one for years now. You can do the filtering in here. It's pretty amazing. You can, you know, filter for smaller traders and larger players. So play around with the filtering in here. There's a video on our features and components, or just do Bookmap CVD in Google and you'll find the video. Okay, it's about 5 minutes long. Yeah, play around with it. I mean, it's amazing, like how you can also filter for the in fact, FT71 was the first one to start to play around with that I saw. And he was looking at that and it's like, oh, that's a good idea. All right, YouTubers, let's get back. I'm sorry, guys. I've kind of neglected you in here a bit. We come back here though. How do you find exhaustion? Lack of trading. Okay, it has nothing to do with the order book, P trader. It has everything to do with the transactions and lack of transactions at certain areas, like extremes. So like, for example, up here, this is not exhaustion in this Bitcoin example. This is pretty strong buying in here and very consistent strong buying in here. Typically we look for a bounce here, and if we're to continue back up into here, this is actually more of a low volume pullback here. Okay, there is some volume in here though, but you know, more or less. So looking for a bounce off of this in crypto here, and more acceptance higher from one range to the next. Okay, again, understanding a move out of one range and move into the next, and acceptance in that range. Okay, doesn't always work out. If we get our selling pressure in here, they're going to move it, and they're probably going to go to 28,500. But they're probing and testing it down here. This is another way to, this is one of the ways that I have played around with this and found it to be helpful. If it probes and tests down here, the market in general, okay, we don't have to talk about larger players manipulating it or whatever. Like, just if the market probes and tests this area and doesn't find a lot of liquidations, and it already probed it, I'm looking forward to try to maybe probe the other side then, back up here, and see if we can find liquidations. Didn't find any earlier. It found them up here. So maybe it has to come all the way back up here and probe and test back up here. See, they're starting to find some though right now. So they're finding some. So they're able to likely go lower until it doesn't find any more liquidations. Guys, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up in there. And subscribe to the channel. This, you know, makes a big difference for us. It really helps us. it helps us in all sorts of ways, starting to reach out to other traders that hear about us, and then we bring them in. This is how we found Carmine. That's how we found some other traders. And then, you know, yeah, he was actually using Bookmap. Uh, and yeah, it's fantastic. So that really helps us network here. And then we're bringing it right back to you guys. So yeah, help us a little bit, help you, kind of thing. Let me see questions in here because although okay, so I asked a question. Sorry, Ethan, I didn't get back to your question in real time there. There's so much subject analysis. True. There's also very objective analysis, random guy. This is one of them right here. That's one of the reasons why I like this indicator so much. It's just fact. This is not cumulative volume delta. This is not stochastics or some sort of derivative of time, price, and volume at all. This is just fact. These people got liquidated at the extreme. That is pretty amazing transparency in my book. Right? So, you know, here it found a few more. Now we're looking for probing the other side here and trying to find some buyer liquidations here. The market is kind of randomly kind of going back and forth, and here's what it looks like. We haven't looked at one stock today. Yaxon. So we've been looking at Bitcoin and S&P E-mini futures product. Okay, yeah, Franklin, stops and icebergs. Sure, we can cover that. It's 11:30. We're getting down to the down to the bottom here of the webinar. Stops and icebergs. That's a lot to cover right now, Frank. I mean, I'm happy to go through it. Maybe on guys, no webinar on Monday, but on Tuesday, Franklin, if that's okay. There's all sorts of information though as well in Discord or on our knowledge base. That's probably the place to go, is our knowledge base. So let me show you that. Sorry to kind of pawn that off on you last minute, but go to bookmap.com, go to the more button, and then click on knowledge base, and then add-ons here, and then stops and iceberg subchart and on chart. This will cover probably what you're looking for. There's a lot in here. Okay, there's a FAQs at the bottom as well to go through lots of different things in here. Okay, that'll be a good starting point for you, and then maybe on Tuesday if you still have questions. All right, let's see what else. Liquidations, let's go over that as well. I just want to show you here, this is the place to go. We have a video, we have you know, what's required, how to install it, how to get it, etc., and all the different settings in here, and they're in the video as well. Okay, from the knowledge base add-on section here. So I'll put that into the chat again here. All right, guys, well, let's see here. If there's nothing else, and yeah, you gave us a like there, you know, please do. Like I said, helps us. And let's go back into the S&P here and see what's going on. All right, so looking good again here for, looking at the order flow. You can say this is a cup and handle in here, but the buying looks good in here. So I'm still looking for it to come back up and trade here until we see something different, and looking for it to break out and test up to here, our 25, where we saw that kind of lack of buying up here. And let's see if we can get some buyers up here, and let's see if they can break out into 30, 31 up here. And that aligns pretty nicely with our higher time frame. On the at least the daily chart, we had a line up here that we drew due to some of these swings in here from months ago. So just, that makes sense to me, like 30, 33, somewhere around up in there. Strong momentum, strong move here. So looking for continuation. Guys, keep an eye out for lots of liquidity getting filled up in these areas. Today's action could also set the things up really nicely for maybe a move lower. Okay, regardless, this is going to be a kind of critical area here. Not multi-day move lower. We're not calling for that in here, because I don't see the same activity that we saw last Friday. So don't get me wrong on that. But I would say that this area in here is going to be pretty important. Okay, so 4,100 and a bit below it in here due to this high liquidity in here getting filled today. Right, so we're looking for pullbacks to 4,100 and kind of into this area in here. Right, and I'll just leave it at that. Right, because so far we started this webinar off talking about high liquidity getting filled and matching this with previous days and putting together higher time frame moves. But now we're not calling for a reversal here, but we're noting just that this is maybe some profit taking, or we're noting that this is higher time frame liquidity, and looking at icebergs, looking at our structure. And then what might unfold. Maybe this is just we come back and retest these areas next week, but we want to see what happens around these areas on the higher time frame. And that's what's going to be kind of critical, I think, for next week activity. If we even get there, maybe we continue on and we see still more and more buying pressure. All right. So anyway, lots of links sent you guys. Sorry, Franklin, we'll get to you on the stops and icebergs on Tuesday. And like I said, though, there's plenty of info there in the knowledge base add-on section. And that should answer your questions up front. And then we can go over it later. Also, Scott Pulcini uses almost exclusively, the stops and icebergs for his trading. It's important for his trading. All right, guys, thanks for coming, everybody. Tom B is next, right? He starts at 11:30. He's all set to go. So you can go right from this webinar over into his webinar and continue the analysis there until basically the close. So good stuff over there. Follow Tom B and volume profile. Okay, if you like volume profile, that's what he's looking at, and we'll continue over there. All right, thanks for coming, everybody. We will catch up with you next time on Tuesday. Enjoy the holiday weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday.